Denver's STAR program only responded to half its calls for assistance last year. The reason why this much celebrated program can't keep up. As the Republican National Convention continues, a look at what Donald Trump's economic policies would mean for Colorado.
Populism is really winning, and I think what is promised sounds good.
It would devastate the ag industry and devastate our manufacturing industry here in the state of Colorado.
Research out of our state shows that banned books tend to be children's books by authors of color. And tonight, together, we'll support a nonprofit helping Coloradans escape addiction and find recovery, making fresh starts happen. Tonight on Next. Denver's STAR program to send mental health help instead of police to some emergencies gets a lot of praise and attention. What it doesn't get to is about half of its possible calls. The team missed thousands last year. Our Kelly Rinke looks at why.
A call to 911 doesn't always need a response from police. Nonviolent calls can dispatch a mental health professional instead. But of the 15,125 calls in 2023 deemed eligible for a response from the STAR program, STAR only responded to 7,657, or 50%.
Yeah, it is a huge problem that the STAR program is not being used as much as it should be.
Vinny Cervantes is the chair of the STAR Community Advisory Committee, the oversight board that offers input on the program.
And so knowing that these are critical issues that people experience, mental health, substance use, poverty-related issues, homelessness-related issues, that they are not getting help that they need.
The program right now has about 30 team members and 8 vans. It isn't enough to help people in crisis. Cervantes says one of the biggest problems to meeting demand is funding.
We know that it needs, probably at least 3 times the funding that it has right now.
I mean, currently, we're doing the best we can with the funding that we have.
Evan Tompkins with STAR says if their team can't respond, police may instead, unless the person doesn't want an officer.
They can request a STAR-only response so that either STAR will respond, it'll hold till STAR is available, or they have the option of having no response at all.
Thousands of calls last year weren't answered by STAR. Some came in overnight when no one on the team is working.
That people aren't getting support when they need it.
So right now, teams work from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's because they get the highest number of calls during that time period. STAR hopes to expand to 24/7 coverage at some point, Kyle.
And we've certainly seen this program, which started as a pilot in a couple of years, expand greatly and be copied in a number of other places.
Yeah, other cities have looked at this program as an example. It started with 1 van, now they have 8, and even with 8, they can't keep up.
Kelly Rinke, thank you very much. There's fresh nuttery from a Colorado Republican about the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. State Rep Scott Bottoms from Colorado Springs says it was an FBI inside job.
And I know I'm conspiracy and this service is being recorded, but I believe the FBI is part of this. They've been part of it from the beginning.
It is, in fact, being recorded by the church where he's preaching, not like recorded by the FBI or anything. Bottoms made that comment from the pulpit of his church of Briargate, where he unleashes a lot of his political hot takes these days. Without offering any proof, the state rep claims the shooting was part of an ongoing FBI plot to kill Donald Trump before the election. Representative Bottoms said that if the FBI and others are not able to imprison or kill Trump before November, he says the election will not be held.
We're not going to have a presidential election. If he's still alive and he's not in jail, we're not going to have an election. This is just the beginning. They need that man dead. They do. And they will not stop unless they can somehow make that happen or put him in jail.
In 2022, Bottoms told the Colorado Sun that the January 6th insurrection was also the work of the FBI. Despite Bottoms' frequent extremism, he remains a close ally of Colorado Republican Chairman Dave Williams, who actually held his primary night watch party right there at Bottoms' church. This week, as Donald Trump and Republicans lay out their priorities at the Republican National Convention, we're looking at how those policies would specifically impact Colorado. Trump is promising radical change to America's trade policy, and that would impact, among other things, how Colorado's ag industry works. This is Decision 2024, the stakes for Colorado. Tonight, our Mark Salinger looks at what Donald Trump's economic policies, from taxes to tariffs, would mean for Coloradans.
On Colorado's Eastern Plains, politics can impact business.
Decisions made in D.C. or in the State House, anywhere, influence every person within the country.
Justin Luton's family has farmed here since 1919. He knows how tariffs can impact profits.
As a farmer in Colorado, something like 85% of our products are exported.
Donald Trump has promised to impose retaliatory tariffs toward any country that taxes U.S. exports. Trump argues it would force nations to repeal all tariffs if they want to continue trading with America.
If India, China, or any other country hits us with a 100 or 200% tariff on American-made goods, we will hit them with the same exact tariff.
Trump is also proposing a 10% baseline tariff on all foreign imports.
A 10% tariff on every product would cost consumers thousands of dollars in additional taxes.
Democratic Governor Jared Polis says he would advise both candidates to repeal tariffs.
If America were to do this under Donald Trump, other countries would level punitive tariffs for made in Colorado, grown in Colorado products.
Trade is extremely important to our farmers.
Nick Coldblazer with the Colorado Corn Promotion Council was in D.C. today, advocating for farmers back home. While Trump imposed tariffs during his first term in office, President Biden added more on certain products.
Making sure that we have access to other nations and being preferred as one of their trading partners is absolutely essential.
Both parties are talking about tariffs because it's very good politically, especially in the swing states.
As the program director and professor of supply chain at the University of Denver, Jack Buffington knows tariffs aren't the only change to the economy we'll see if Trump is elected. The Project 2025 agenda, drawn up by a right-wing think tank and former Trump advisors, suggests overhauling the tax system, creating two tax rates. 15% for people making less than $168,000 a year, and 30% for people making above that. That would effectively raise taxes for people in the two lowest tax brackets and lower taxes for people in the three highest tax brackets.
Populism is really winning, and I think what is promised sounds good, but whether it can get enacted when you have this challenge of our legislation being split 50-50.
America's vote will impact everyone. Justin's focus is on continuing to feed the world.
The wheat that is in those bins equates to just slightly less than 20 million loaves of bread.
So when you think about tariffs, it's not just whether corn or wheat or whatever it might be is taxed. Farmers here in Colorado, for example, also impacted by tariffs on things like pesticides, fertilizers, parts for tractors. Kyle, it all has a trickle-down effect. Yeah, and it's complex stuff, even if it's just one person looking at a number of different things, tariffs and taxes and so forth. Yeah, and when you're trying to figure out who to vote for, it's not even just economic reasons that you figure it out. There's also things like regulations on the ag industry that also play a major impact into figuring out who might win this election. Mark Salinger, thank you very much. By many measures, Colorado sees more substance abuse than most states. And the LGBTQ community tends to have substance abuse rates that are 2-3 times higher than the population as a whole. So I want to tell you about a nonprofit that is helping Coloradans recover, get sober, start fresh. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports the nonprofit Just Living Recovery. Their sober living community is where people in the Denver metro area can find support and also find a place where they find acceptance for who they are. Many of the Coloradans who come to Just Living Recovery have tried to get clean without being in an open and accepting environment. And that's incredibly difficult. Just Living understands the unique challenges of people in the LGBTQ community who are in recovery. They've walked that road with a lot of people. The nonprofit especially prides itself on affordability, knowing that the longer that someone is sober, the greater their chances of long-term success. So the longer they can afford to be in the program, the better chance they'll have to make lasting change in their life. Here's how we can make lasting change for them. Their home in Jefferson County is an old youth facility. So for starters, they want to replace their old beds, often kind of kid-sized, with new adult beds, comfortable places for people to live. They could also use help with scholarships to cover the initial costs for people who are coming in, seeking recovery, and aren't yet holding down a stable job. And they've always wanted to be able to reward people in their community who have worked hard to gain and keep their sobriety and who are then headed out on their own, to reward them with some kind of help, like a rent deposit or a housewarming gift to help them furnish a new place. So let's see what we can do together. Scan that QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491. We'll send you that link to donate. You have proven that even $5 helps and adds up fast. So as always, I'll match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us started. And we are so close to having 3,000 of you signed up to simplify your giving with a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. That has meant that we have started your recent micro-giving campaigns with $22,000 in donations each week. That's incredible. Scan the same QR code or text to get there.
By targeting children's books that have diverse characters, they're also banning women of color.
CU researchers have thumbed through hundreds of banned books to find out what they have in common. Flight attendants for Denver's largest airline will soon decide if they want to cause some chaos. Like, for real, that's their word. And Excel is told to get its hands out of your wallet. That's next. Flight attendants for Denver Airport's largest carrier, United, will soon vote on a potential strike. The union describes their strike strategy in one word: chaos, which of course is exactly what you're looking for when you go to the airport for sure. The union representing 28,000 United flight attendants says they'll take this strike authorization vote in August, first one of those since 2005. If approved, the union says they won't give management or passengers a heads up on when and where they will strike. The strike strategy they call creating havoc around our system. Spells out chaos. Sounds like it too. United flight attendants were part of a multi-airline picket at DIA last month. They're demanding a double-digit base pay increase and more schedule flexibility. United accounts for nearly 50% of the passenger traffic at DIA. I know it's been hot. You're probably not thinking about your winter energy bill, but Excel's been thinking about it, and they're thinking that they would like it to be higher. Excel is asking state regulators to sign off on a $170 million natural gas rate increase. The state might end up cutting that hike by more than half. The rate increase would show up on customer bills next February. Excel wants to tack on about $6 to the average customer's monthly bill. Excel says the extra money is necessary to maintain their natural gas infrastructure. But last week, staff for the Public Utilities Commission recommended reducing that rate increase by more than half. No final decision. All this has to go before the PUC's Board of Commissioners later this year. Kathy Saban's slight cool off today.
And it was nice. And I wish we had another day of this tomorrow, but we're back to the lower 90s. Now, the cloud cover did bring some beneficial rain showers that we're still seeing on the radar this afternoon. And the hillsides up in areas like Winter Park are so green. They've had rain in the high country off and on for the past few days. We're tracking evening storms ahead of a warming and drying trend that'll see us back in the 90s for the next couple of days. Down to 80 in Denver and a few light showers coming off the foothills. The winds have been picking up to the north and also to the south. And the storms, as they move from the northwest to the southeast, have very impactful conditions out there with hail and rain and lightning. And that is something that will linger late into the evening. And too much rain in a small area creates flooding, a flash flood warning out near the Cheyenne area this evening. Heavy showers beneficial, some hail reports coming in, also some wind reports of 50 and 60 miles per hour. Evening drive underway with dry conditions as we remain in a marginal threat for storms with hail. The greatest threat for storms with hail will be east of Akron, Lyman, and Burlington tonight. Tomorrow, that threat shifts well east of the metro area. And so these storms will track from the northwest to the southeast out. Skies will clear. Tomorrow, a little additional moisture means 1 or 2 thunderstorms are likely in the afternoon again. Temperatures in the 70s between now and about 11 o'clock tonight. And we're back to the low 90s on Friday and Saturday with the slow cooling trend. Temperatures in the low 80s as we kick off the new week.
I was just very surprised that so many of them were picture books.
A CU team looked at the books being banned by conservatives these days in an exhaustive study on what a lot of them have in common. That's next. If you want to study book bans, there's no shortage of material coming out of Colorado these days. A team of researchers at CU Boulder did the work. They sifted through hundreds of book ban requests from across the country, trying to find out what's being pulled off shelves and why. Our Brian Wendland shows us what they found.
It's kind of hard to find books, so.
Katie Spoon is looking for books impossible to find at some school libraries around the country.
Okay, there's JP and then there's JF.
The CU Boulder PhD student is part of a team studying banned books.
I didn't know that much about banned books and kind of just assumed they were like the ones I had seen on like the banned books shelves at like bookstores.
According to PEN America's Banned in the USA report, more than 2,500 books were banned in U.S. schools during the 2021-22 school year. Spoon's study got underway that summer.
And so the first thing we did was just like collected as much information we could about the books.
She thought they'd find popular titles taking up most of the list, but that wasn't the case.
We found that most of the books didn't have any sales information and didn't have any searches even before they were banned. Like they were just pretty low interest books in general.
Another finding? Children's books made up the bulk of the banned books.
We found that authors of color, and especially women of color, were much more likely to be banned compared to white authors.
Spoon says the findings were unsettling.
Some of these bans are getting through, and that there's maybe not an understanding of what content is actually being banned.
She says the study's results are important because book banning is a slippery slope that could lead to censorship elsewhere.
Especially in a democracy, knowledge is, and access to knowledge and information is really important.
For Next, I'm Brian Wentland.
We're back here in a moment with your feedback. That's next. Thank you. Just Living Recovery is a nonprofit sober living community for LGBTQ Coloradans who have higher rates of substance abuse than the general population. Just Living knows the challenge of navigating both sobriety and discrimination simultaneously and provides a supportive environment that's affordable. And that's key, because the longer that people stay sober, the better their chances are of long-term positive change in their lives. We're helping them spruce up their house and offer scholarships to incoming residents and help them get set up when they leave. To join me in this week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supporting their work, scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491. You'll see an option to give just this week or another option to chip in a little bit for each week's microgiving campaign. You make one monthly donation. We split it up amongst all of them. A feedback from Shirley tonight, who says, your sense of timing for these Word of Thanks charities is incredible. This week is exactly, she says, when we needed to hear about help for addiction, and that help is there in the community. And we can boost their efforts. A text, Kyle, not a chance that I will ever donate to your liberal programs. I'm at a loss to figure out what exactly it is about people in recovery or getting sober that's liberal or conservative or honestly political at all. I don't know that very many of our causes have a political lens to them, whether you're given to a food bank out on the Eastern Plains or whether you're working on, keeping youth safe in the city. It's not political. It's people helping people. Got to set that stuff down, man. That's a load of bricks. See you next time.